Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Old Fashioned on Purpose podcast. We're continuing our theme of deep dives with the experts this season. And I'm very excited to have on with me today Marty Raney. You probably heard of him before. He's a homesteader, a musician, a mountain climber, and he is the host of the very popular show Homestead Rescue on the Discovery Channel. He also just published a book called Homestead Survival. And I can't think of anyone better to talk to us about starting a homestead, common mistakes with homesteading, and all the stuff in between. So welcome, Marty.
Well, welcome from Alaska. It's a clear blue sky day. We just got about 6 inches of snow, and on the hillside behind my house, there's about 18 to 20 inches. So Alaska winter has set in, but hey, that's part of it. The good news is probably have to full disclosure, I don't always do everything right. I think that's what really qualifies me to help other people. I've made all the mistakes, but
Amen.
this may be the first. This may be the first time. Might as well start off letting people know that maybe someone else is more qualified for this podcast than me. But this is the first winter in 50 years in Alaska where I probably have enough wood to get through the winter. Took me 50 years to figure that one out.
But hey, you figured it out.
Yes.
I will tell you one thing about my audience. They love a good mistake story. So my most popular episodes is when I tell them how I royally messed something up. So I think that you're going to be very well loved. I'm just saying.
Wow. I don't know how to take that, but I will take it.
Okay. So I'd love to talk to you about homesteading in Alaska. I am especially interested in harsh climates. We live in Wyoming, where it's super windy, super cold, and the weather is crazy. But I feel like you still have me beat in terms of harshness. So, what are some of your strategies for homesteading in a place like Alaska? Like, can you grow vegetables? What do you have to do differently than the average homesteader?
Anyone that lives in a colder climate is well aware, and to those in your audience, I'm preaching to the choir. They know what's going on. There is a growing season. There is that last day, if you will, of frost. There is that week or two that you plant to get in a sufficient crop wherever you live. I mean, it's the 21st century, and a person, if you ask that question of somebody maybe even 20 years ago, you might have to do some research in your area. But right now, there's an app and information overload. I mean, you can look up the very pinpoint square foot where you're standing on planet Earth and see on an app somewhere if your house actually, or farm or ranch or homestead, whatever, even qualifies for a wind turbine. Someone knows this. They know if your house, your area, your valley, your state, your county has enough wind to justify getting a wind turbine. So, yeah, cold weather does. I have a lot, frankly, personally. Those are my people. I relate to people that have a longer winter, a colder winter, more wind, the plains.
Yeah.
We just shot an episode not far from Custer.
Nice.
And it was clear blue sky, beautiful. It was our first episode in Wyoming. It was stunning.
Yes.
I'm hooked. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
My assistant, Kelly Kazina, has family that I believe thousands of acres in South Dakota near Wyoming border, I think. And where's that rock? Where's that?
Devil's Tower.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me for my lack of
That's all right.
geographical prowess. But yes. And I met in Alaska a man named, what was his name? Topes. And he's got he's got a big ranch and farm there. He's got one in Wyoming, one in Montana. He's trying to create an elk farm in Alaska. We were shooting an episode in Delta Junction, a very cold place, even on the Alaskan, radar, Richter scale. It's cold there, wind, everything, brutal. But in the same breath, it's one of Alaska's biggest, if not the biggest area for ag areas, if you will, huge parcels of land where they, in fact, grow barley. And it is, in fact, hybrid. Some of those crops are hybrid crops that, were designed over time to thrive and cold temperatures in a short growing season. But in that same area of extreme cold, there's certainly a window of weather where you can again grow incredible crops. Uh, and it doesn't matter if you're in Wyoming or if you're in Alaska, where I live, which is kind of warm compared to Fairbanks and Delta Junction. Uh, you're still dealing with 7 months or so, maybe 8,
Yeah.
certainly 7, where you probably can't grow something. We actually won, not set and boast, and I cannot take credit because there's my bride and my one of my 4 kids and his girlfriend kind of managed the garden um, here on this 40 acres in Alaska. But we won first prize at the state fair with a what is it? What was it? It was a zucchini.
Nice.
I was traveling, I was filming, but I was like, wow, good job, guys. And I think we won some prizes with honey as well because we have bees. My point. Uh, so you could be in an award-winning, uh, you could be an award-winning, uh, you know, produce vegetable farmer, if you will. Your garden could be award-winning in cold climates, whether it's Delta, Wyoming, or this Valley of Palmer, also known probably equal or right in there with Delta Junction is 580 600,000 whatever square miles in Alaska, and the 2 areas of ag notoriety would be Delta Junction and where we live,
Mhm.
Palmer. Much warmer here, a little bit longer growing season for sure, rich soils, and
Yep.
of course, it's the land of the midnight sun. So if you can't grow something in Alaska, um, that would be you're the pinball wizard, deaf, dumb, and
Yeah.
blind. Could grow something here.
Good perspective. What zone are you where you live?
I don't know what that means.
What growing, like your growing zone, your garden zone?
I don't know what that
Oh,
means.
you don't know? Okay, we'll see. Doesn't even, you don't even need to know. You're just getting, when's your last frost date?
In this part, well, that's subjective and relative because all these weather changes are catching people by surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say by the fifth, the you know, certainly by June 1st, you could plant anything. But
Okay.
there's certain people planting in the latter weeks of May.
So
Yeah,
that's really similar to us. So that, I mean, I figured I usually plant my tomatoes and my sensitive stuff June 1st, Memorial Day.
yeah,
So
and
similar.
with all this sun, again, you could grow anything in the growing season, if you will, or growing zone, as you state. The one of the issues or uh, things that we run into are people saying, "Oh, we want to grow year round. We want an extended growing season." And honestly, I'm asking myself privately on these homesteads why. There's plenty of time. I mean, I know what a garden can produce, so a small one nonetheless. So, what if these people? Is it romantic? Probably because they're not even taking advantage of their existing growing season. But if someone asks us, hey, we want to, so we'll, I wouldn't say humor, but we go to help people. So if that's what you want, we feel that they'll, pick up the ball where we left off. We will, in fact, try to give them a, heated greenhouse or put a greenhouse on the side of their house to under the same banner that greenhouse can be heated by the house, whatever the point, all of the tricks. And some of those can be a little romantic um, when it comes to painting barrels black. And, there's
Mm,
a lot
yeah.
I have to be honest, I can't think of one thing out there we haven't done. I even think we may have, I'd have to be, I have to be careful saying this because every time I think the few times rather that I think I've done something that might be original, it probably wasn't. Whether it was songwriting or music or a homestead hack, it's kind of all been done. So, but having done so many different ways to create a growing, if you will, season, longer growing season, extended growing season, yeah, I don't know. I think it's, I don't see, unless someone has some commercial overtones, why I think that the subject is moot, but you can do it.
Mhm.
even now, it's even less. Uh, it would take rather more convincing for me to do it for someone, because it's going to cost you more money with the price of fuel if you're going to have an oil stove, or
Right.
doesn't matter. So
Yes.
yeah, so to your question, if you will, yeah, I don't care where you live. I've been from coast to coast, north and south. I i've often said, and not just from the growing aspect, but how difficult and challenging this 40 acres is. I mean, just what I've gone through in the last week was insane. I almost got killed,
Hmm.
almost slipped off the edge of a cliff in a 200 excavator, but
Oh
in
man.
a blizzard. But
Ugh.
the
Ugh.
the point, it's just constant challenges here. And this 40 acres and 50 years in Alaska, um, working literally from catch a can to barrel, I think is what might qualify me to help all these other people. And when it comes to, a garden, I think that you can grow in that region. All the other true farmers, true homesteaders have done all the work for you. They
Yeah.
know what grows well, and they know what to grow and when to plant it. So
Yes.
I'm really, I have a lot of respect for people that, uh, true farmers, true, uh, I have it hit me. I mean, I never left Alaska in 40 years ish. And until I got on Homestead Rescue, and then we started here and then went to Canada, and they said, we're going to go to the States. And I was like, man, I don't know. I don't want to go to the States,
Yeah.
but I changed my tune because I realized how beautiful the States are. And by accident, I, worked along so many diverse climes, uh, and temperatures from Alaska to Texas. That pretty much says it all. And it again, the people that were there first. When you fly across America, you look down. It doesn't matter where you fly. You see that whether you're coming into O'Hare or Denver or SeaTac or Portland or even LAX, you can look down, or Houston or Atlanta. You can look down, even New York. You can look down on that flight from what, 25 to 35,000 feet, and you see it. It's right there. It's
Yeah.
the patchwork of homesteads that were carved out, and they're those patches of ground down there are growing the food for America. Without them, we don't exist. So whether it's the people that carved off a 40-acre piece off the corner of that, or a 20 or a 10 or a 5 acre, um, the we're all borrowing from the proven, tested, knowledge, failures, and ultimately successes of all those farmers and ranchers and homesteaders wherever you live, whether it's Delta, Junction, Alaska, or Palmer, Alaska, where I live, Wasilla, or where you live. And I met some pretty skookum people from Wyoming and South Dakota. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is
Uh,
harsh. Yeah.
It's a harsh place. I just reached out. Ironically, I had no idea that was where you lived, but I just reached out to two people that I mentioned earlier, from Wyoming, about what cattle should I get on this 40 acres, and
Mm.
it was invaluable information. I mean, I'm not a go to YouTube guy. I'm not. I mean, I have a YouTube channel, I guess, somewhere, but but I yeah, I'm not minimizing how valuable that can be for people, but you can't, you cannot underestimate, you cannot overlook. I don't care who's out there listening. Just stop at an old farm in your neighborhood and talk to those old timers. That knowledge is priceless. It's invaluable. And when people like that are talking, the smartest thing you could ever do is listen to them. They know what they're talking about, whether it's the water, the rainfall, um, what to plant and when to plant.
Yes, I agree. Much better than YouTube. If you can find that locally, that is the way to go. I know just even with the ranchers in our area, it's pretty historic ranching community that we live in. The stories they have alone will are just extremely valuable. But yeah, why is the wind coming out of the south today and not the other way? And they'll tell you the stories, and they'll tell you the other years when the droughts were like this, and then when the rain came in August and it didn't come in August next year. Just like I've learned so much just by listening. I agree.
Yeah. Did you so what part of Wyoming are you in? I'm not again, we were in the Custer, Hazel, no, Newcastle area.
Okay. We are down in the southeast corner by near Cheyenne on the
Oh,
plains. Yeah.
no, sounds amazing. I listen, I'm not a BSer. I'm telling you, had looked forward to going to Wyoming for years. And now filming season 10, when I heard we were going there, I was like, nice, this is going to be nice.
Yeah.
And it was. It did not disappoint. It's kind of like no matter where you were, didn't matter where you were, you could just get on a horse and start riding.
Oh yeah. Yes. The
And
wide open spaces are here.
yeah, you
Yes.
can do that here, but you'll probably be dead in a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not quite as risky as there. Not as many bears down here. We have some, not as many as you guys.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed Wyoming. We the the on while we're on that topic, season 10 is underway. I think we're filming a lot of episodes, but the first one of the season was Wyoming,
Excellent.
and
Excellent. Yes.
it might be the premiere, and it had to deal with water and gardening and growing food.
Yes.
And they'd been there 20 years. I think their parents started it and drilled a 900-foot well, and for 20 years nobody ever got water out of that well. So
Really?
they hauled water at a considerable expense.
Oh, for 20 years?
20.
Oh my word.
And it was one of the reasons obviously the reason they called us,
Yeah.
and the network approved it, and then there we were. And I guess you'll have to,
We'll have to watch the rest.
yeah, the network won't be happy with me if I reveal that,
Yes.
but that's what they handed us. We've been here 20 years in Wyoming, and that gentleman said something that they were. I don't know if it's true. I'm not calling him out, but we got to be cautious in this type of mediums, blurting something
Mhm.
serious out like this. But I think he said that area of Wyoming was like in an 8-year drought.
I wouldn't be surprised. We have some rough drought patches. We really
So
do. Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, what? To add to the lack of water, but um, so I don't know the growing zone or time in Wyoming. We were there. Uh, where were we? We were there in the spring, maybe. I don't even know what month it is now, but certainly they ended up with a much better growing, uh, productive homestead self-sufficiency lifestyle than when we showed up. Water's the key. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it's on a list that were going to ask me, but while we're on this topic, I mean,
Yes.
this is the thing, young lady. Everywhere I go, I almost expect it. I sometimes privately take a little sigh of relief when I don't have to deal with it. When they go, "Oh, they have water? What? Oh," then we focus on something else. But it's a striking number of people that have purchased a piece of property, frankly, but unbelievably, sight unseen.
Mm.
And then some, believe it or not, I would say, I'm thinking, let's say 5 people have done that. 3 of those, maybe at least 3 off the top of my head, had water on the property and didn't even know it. So they were fortunate.
Okay.
We got water. Uh,
Yes.
but I think and other ones we might have had to drill a well. This show, Homestead Rescue, um, is evolving, and I'm not happy with how it started, frankly. But everyone, including myself, in everyone's defense, was kind of learning the ropes. But by episode 5, we were in Nevada, and this really cool family, the Condor family, dad, mom, two, excuse me, really cool boys. I think one was 18, one was 30, something like that. Very cool sons. The dad was a hardworking carpenter, downturn 2008. lost his job in Reno and the house, ended up out there. His son bought 40 acres out of Lovelock, Nevada for, I think, $6,000.
Wow.
Couple camp trailers. Here you go. It's the best I can do, family. I love that story. And that family was amazing. Hard times befall everybody. I've been through my share.
Yes.
So I can relate to that. All these people and their stories, these homesteaders, they have no idea that I've been through it all. Struggled, this is an oil state, right?
Yes.
So it's got ups and downs. And when the oil's up, you're up. And when it's down, it crashes.
Yeah.
So, but many people have left Alaska during those crashes since the 70s, but we're still here because we came, for Alaska, not for financial reasons. So, yeah, I can relate to those families. And on that episode 5 on season 1, when they were just testing the waters, they being Discovery, is this going to work or not,
Yeah.
But on that episode, I was like, wow, we actually struck water in the middle of the desert on like a 10-year drought. The well driller told me, you know what this is going to cost? I said, what? He goes, it's $50 a foot. And we're going to go 500 feet and it'll be dry.
Ugh.
I told that, and he goes, but I'm taking your money.
Yeah.
So I went to the network and I said, man, what are we going to do? I said, don't do it. I'd already purchased a big, huge trailer to haul water, which was very affordable, from Lovelock, which has an amazing history about water, by the way. Mark Twain actually came over that trail. It's a 40-mile trail or something like that. Your listeners are going to be more privileged, more aware of this story than me. But anyway, when you were going out west, looking, go west, young man, and when you were going out west, you came to Lovelock, and there was no water for 40 miles till you got over towards Reno and Truckee and those areas. Anyway, I'm learning this while I'm there, and underscoring that 100 years later, still no water there.
Still no water. Oh, yeah.
Beyond there. But here's a quote from there, Jill, that blew my mind, by Mark Twain. And I don't know when he wrote it, but he definitely wrote it. So Mark Twain wrote, you could, on that 40-mile trail of settlers, taking their families, their oxen, their horses, their livestock across that, and not making it. Mark Twain said, what did he say? He said, scarcely you set a foot without stepping on a bone.
Oh my gosh.
No, horses and wagon wheels.
Yeah.
Families. I mean, there's a graveyard out there with over 100 people. So water's a big deal. They can make or break a settler.
Yes.
And it can make or break a modern day 21st century homesteader. So we've tried every trick known to man, water catchment. We've learned the rules and the hard way. There's states that won't let you catch water. There's states that monitor how much water you can get. People listening right now that in those areas are well aware. So water's a big thing, and water's getting shorter in a lot of areas out west. It's a big issue. Water is life. It's poetic, but poetic notwithstanding, poetry notwithstanding, is the truth.
Yes. So are you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Are you seeing with these homesteads? They're buying them sight unseen? So like they don't have wells, or the wells have gone bad, or they've never checked to see if there was water in the first place. Like, what's the biggest cause of these water issues, or is it just across the board?
Honestly, let me put a footnote on that last little story. The network told me to drill, and we did, and we hit water at 127 feet, 20 gallons or more a minute, $1 million water well.
Wow. And
so this family that had got a lot of bad news, it resurrected them literally, nearly literally. So water, it can make or break you.
Hey friend, this episode is sponsored by Genuine Beef Company, which is actually us. It's our beef company. So a number of you have been asking us for a while about the possibility of free shipping. And it took us a while to figure it out because I'll be honest, shipping frozen meat is heavy. It is pricey at times, and it can be just complicated. You got dry ice, you got packaging. You want it to stay fresh all the way to the customer's doorstep. But we finally figured out a way we can offer you a really awesome bundle that not only gives you free shipping, but also free ground beef. So we're calling it the Steak Sizzler Special. And here's what you're going to get. I'm going to hold this up for those of you watching the video version of this podcast. If you're watching the audio version, then you're just going to have to use your imagination. But you're going to get 4 T-bone steaks. You're going to get 2 sirloin steaks. These are quite large, ridiculously large, and will fill an entire small frying pan. You're also going to get 2 of my personal favorite steak in the whole world, the tomahawk. These are like the caveman steak. They are beautiful plated. They are buttery and tender and really the ultimate holiday steak. They're excellent for gift giving. Every time I gift this to someone, I mean, I get the most amazing review afterwards. And you're going to get 2 pounds of our 90-10 ground beef thrown in there for free as well. So this is our beef, guys. We don't do co-op beef. This isn't an aggregate. This isn't a big conglomeration. This is our beef. We raise it from the day those calves hit the ground to all the way to the day they're processed. They grow out on our Wyoming prairie. No corn, no grains, no antibiotics, no added hormones or steroids. It's as pure and as genuine as it gets. And we appreciate your support so very much. We have been shipping out orders steady every single Monday and Tuesday, thanks to you. And every single time we see an order come in, we all do a little celebration. So thank you guys. And if you want to grab the special before we run low on inventory, head on over to genuinebeefco.com. I'll drop that link in the show notes. Click on the banner at the top of the page and grab the Steak Sizzler Special. Now back to our episode.
I think to be honest with you, it's money. You know, to be on waterfront or to have a stream or river or creek is more expensive.
Yes.
When I wrote that book, what prompted me to write it was, excuse me, when I wrote that book, what prompted me to write it was, frankly, an article I read in Forbes magazine, and I don't read Forbes magazine. I don't read any magazine, sorry. But I ran across an excerpt, I don't know where or how, about this urban escape. And it was years ago.
Yes.
Just before the pandemic, and then exacerbated, of course, by the pandemic. And now everyone out there that lives in a cool rural area knows exactly what I'm going to say next. All of these people in these cities had an opportunity over the last 2 years, and that opportunity, that window, that door is closing a little bit, but they had an opportunity to put their house up for sale and get 5 offers on it, get paid more money than they were selling it for, and then with all that money go buy whatever they wanted, usually land in a remote area to escape the cities. I'm apolitical,
yeah,
so I can't, I shouldn't say can't, but I won't belabor on why they're leaving those cities. We all know the reasons. So whatever their reasons, this is happening in mass.
yes. Yes.
So when I wrote the book, I had a working title. I should say the privilege of writing a book. Thank you, Random House and Discovery. But my working title was Urban Escape. By the way, back to not having an original idea in my life, my assistant Kelly looked it up. Oh yeah, Marty, there's like 10 websites, Urban Escape.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, I'm smart. How about Urban Exodus? And so she goes, oh, Marty, you're a loser. There's like 10
yeah,
there's Urban Exodus.
Yeah.
So when you when you have a TV show, unless you really, really, unless the network really likes your idea, the network is going to pick the idea of the show. The name of the show.
Yes.
So, and I learned that in the publishing world, same thing.
Yes,
they like to pick their titles too. So Homestead, and the reason they pick those words, and it makes sense to me after their explanation, was, trust me, the theme and the motivator was this urban escape. It takes us right now. All these episodes the last couple of years have been 2 hours long, so it takes us 8 days with a camera to do all that work. But with a book, how many people could we help? That was kind of the shtick. So, in the book, I say something kind of corny. If this book just helps one person, it's worth it, you know.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. But the purpose of the book was to help more than one family per week,
Yes.
or whatever, 8 or 10 families per season. So we'll see what it. Apparently, it's people are buying it, and more important than the buying is actually learning or just relating to it. But uh, yeah, so they picked the title Homestead Rescue because those are keywords in the internet, social media, literary world where homestead and rescue are like keywords. So I get it. And the water on these homesteads, I think it's just people, the land is cheaper where there's, middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I get surprised, shocked. I don't have time to show the surprise or the shock. I'm just too busy working. But we just came from, where was it, Virginia? And something happened there for a nice young Black couple that I still can't believe. But in their case, they bought 10 acres, I think, and I'm sure it was very cheap land. They just wanted to get out. I think he was a bike messenger, and a lot of people knew him. Real nice looking guy, big guy, nice, very, just a man, beautiful people, dreads. In fact, I carved a big sign as we drove away, and handed big sign, like 8 feet long with a chainsaw. And I
Nice.
hope, and I said, if this is offensive, I'll cut it into firewood. But the sign I stuck on the edge of their homestead after a couple miracles happened there, by the way, was Dreadstead.
Nice.
And they did like it. They had the most amazing dreads. But they're typical, I think, of a lot of people. There's not a lot of money. You want to go to the country.
Yeah.
You drive around and you see all the prices are up. It's crazy. Oh, nice little farm in the middle of nowhere, 600,000.
Yep.
Even for me, something 300,000, I'd be like, it's a lot of money. How do you pay that? How do you, it's a big mortgage. Are you working? Are you retired? How do you homestead? Are you going to be working all the time to support it? So we see a lot of people buying land that's affordable, and they're moving out there in a trailer or yurt, or there's an old cabin out there, or a house that's been sitting for a while. And that's the reason, their next step is they're looking for water a little bit, what is that cart and horse thing?
Yes.
You have to, you really do. If there's one thing I could say and just hang up the phone right now is, I can't stress enough the importance of having water or a plan for water if you're really serious about living off grid. If you're a single guy, I don't care what you do. Knock yourself out.
Yep.
But if you're dragging a beautiful girl out there or some kids, you got to have water, because they need water. They need cleanliness. They need showers. They need to wash clothes. And it starts there, but then it's a ripple effect. The more water you have, the more successful you'll be at food growing and bringing animals dead. And I'm not a clean freak. I mean, as soon as I hang this phone up, I'm mucking out a chicken coop and building a barn and working on some mechanical stuff. My point, but you get dirty on these homesteads.
Yes.
So my point, I'm sensitive every time. We never meet these, Jill. We never meet these people in advance. We don't talk to them on the phone like me and you. Nothing behind the scenes. Nothing behind the scenes. I won't.
So it's like cold turkey when you show up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, but when I'm standing there and I see these beautiful ladies and their little kids, girls or whatever, or kids, I'm like, man, there's no water here. They've been out here for 2 years, 4 years. I'm thinking, okay, so I'm thinking right that second, I don't care what anyone's thinking. I'm going to try to get this family water. So
Yes.
yeah, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy how many people have brought property and lived there for a couple years and didn't know there was a possibility to get water
Sure.
outside outside of drilling a well.
Yeah.
The network will not let me and doesn't like it, and I don't blame them. This show is, again, has evolved. We've all had to we've all given it our, 2 cents, our input collective, to get it where it is now. We don't have a big budget. I mean, it takes a lot to make the show, but the
Yeah.
amount that the Rainies get to use to do this is shockingly low. So we're forced, if you will, to be creative, inventive. But I'll tell you straight up right now, the show probably wouldn't be on the air right now, 10 seasons, if every time we showed up there was an endless budget. We drilled wells and on every episode. I don't know if I would do a show like that.
Well, the limitations are real life. I mean, that's the true homestead situation for a lot of folks is those limitations, and I think that makes it way more interesting and way more realistic.
Yes, ma'am. And so, yeah, and a few years ago, thank you, Mother Earth News. They invited me to an expo in Belton, Texas. I think it's right outside of Austin. And anybody out there in Mother Earth News, thank you so much. That was a real honor and humbling. But there was a building on that expo grounds. It was huge. I mean, to me, it seemed huge as I think about it. And it was full of books. I mean, a million books. Every author, every topic, simple life, overload, infinite amount of information. I mean, so how much can you write about this?
Mhm.
But I did meet a couple authors, uh, and I had this show premise. I'm not going to a new show premise I was going to pitch, and I talked to a couple of these authors, and it had to do. Well, I can't say, but anyway, it did. But it did involve where they lived. So a couple of them show me where they lived. Holy buckets! They're millionaires. They're professional people, millionaires living in a subdivision. They look exactly like when you fly into these towns, like I aforementioned, Denver, LA,
Mm.
whatever, uh, where there's high country and these big subdivisions with big houses on the hills right on the edge of town. She lived in one of those. And I was like, man, wait a minute. You know, I'm happy. I guess what I'm trying to say is, um, I feel more than qualified to help somebody that's struggling or trying to figure it out because I'm still struggling and trying to figure it out here.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you can have too much water, meaning glaciers and road impassable
Mhm.
and flooding, or not enough water to really be comfortable or even, frankly, thrive. You're going to survive. I hate TV shows where they're, and don't think that many a producer hasn't tried to get me to say it. They're all going to die.
Oh, me and my husband, we laugh about that constantly. Every time something happens here on our homestead, well, the fire box is out of firewood. Will they make it through the night? We don't know. Come back to find out. Like it's our running joke. Yes, totally.
And it is a I don't know, it's kind of in the DNA of many people in this world on this side, TV and books. But um, without that water, they're just not going to be successful. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to be clean.
Right.
Frankly, they're not going to be sanitary. I don't think I've ever seen one person yet that's hauling water doing it sanitarily. I,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it because of how many times you got to transfer the water. I've done it right here on this 40 acres.
Yeah.
Get it out of the spring, out of the side of the mountain. Boom, right there. Any surface water is got, you know, it's got coliform bacteria.
Yeah.
Done. God knows what else. So you start there. It's already contaminated before you touched it. But now you've got buckets. Now you've got a hose putting it in the water. Uh, did you, sterify or did you sanitize Did you sanitize your hands? Where do you store the hose and the pump and the fittings and the crate? Then you got to transfer that water and then pump it into into a container, external, internal, inside your house, whatever. I just, maybe somebody's out there listening, go, hey, he's full of crap. We're clean people and we haul water. I apologize. I tip my hat in humility, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to do it, and I'd be hard pressed to say that I didn't contribute something, bacteria, contaminant into that water system, because I handled it one, two, three times. The
Absolutely.
containers, where are they stored? Where'd you get the container? Uh, and so, yeah, I'm just I guess, as you can tell, I mean, we've talked for minutes now about water and the importance of it. And if you want your wife or girlfriend or kids to be happier in this lifestyle, get them some water.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always think too about everyone, we can all do something hard for a little while. And I like an element of challenge in life, but if every part of our homestead is difficult day in, day out, we're not going to keep up with a lot of it. And I look at that with the hauling water. I know plenty of folks who are hauling just to their gardens, even they have it in the house, but they're just hauling it to their gardens. And I'm like, that's going to be fun for 2 weeks. And then you're just going to get tired of it and you're just going to start skimping and everything. It's just not going to thrive. And then you're going to be annoyed that your garden died. So I think looking long term at how is this sustainable for my own sanity is also important, in addition to the cleanliness and just having water to drink and all that, of course.
Yeah. So, rain catchment is your easiest, cheapest way, frankly, to stave off hauling water.
Mhm.
But, that water's certainly not clean.
Right. And you also have to have rain, which we don't really have here in Wyoming.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I think,
So
I think that area, I can't remember. I looked it up because we did rain catchment on that house too.
mhm.
The cool thing about rain catchment, it's kind of easy to remember, and it is pretty. Actually, it rained while we were there, and we caught a lot of water,
Nice.
uh, serendipitously. But it proves but it proves the point about the significance of rain catchment. If you have a roof that's 1,000 square feet
Mhm.
surface. So if you have a roof that's about 1,000 square feet and it rains 1 inch, you can harness 600 gallons of water.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't, if someone says, I get it, we knew that, we did it anyway, then I would go, okay, not going to berate you ever, but let's get serious. What are you doing to catch water? Because it works. The other thing is, there's a lot of people out there in those states that have clay, and if
Yes.
you're driving around and oh shoot, down through the Midwest, it's not limited to there, but all the way from Minnesota down through. I mean, I've seen them. I built them in Missouri, but you can't do it in Kansas. You can't do it in all those places. Every square inch of those states, and the people again live there. But if you guys are anyone listening is in a place where you see ponds here and there, those are man-made ponds, little round
Mhm.
ponds next to a cabin or in a field with 20 cows standing around there. They're man-made, meaning they had clay. So significant and integral are those ponds. People actually truck in clay. We've done that as well.
Okay.
Make the whole track in clay, walk it in with an excavator. Uh, more than one old timer is going to tell you, "Oh, put a little bunch of clay out there and let pigs stomp it in." Okay, whatever. Uh, Rain in time will fill that up, and that water will stay. It's crazy. It'll stay right, for the most part, right up to the edge, to the brim.
Yes.
So, are you going to drink that water? You could. I mean, there's UV systems and osmosis, reverse osmosis. There's systems that kill 99.99% of all contaminants, bacteria. So you could. I'm not recommending it, but you could certainly garden and have livestock and you know thrive and haul drinking water. And I'd give you a gold star. But you could, all it would take is renting a small dozer or an excavator. I can't underscore enough, again, the importance of having an excavator on your property, even for a week.
Yeah.
Find out what the rent, the delivery in Alaska, when places we go, from 150 to $200, from 100 to $200 one way, for an excavator. A 200 size excavator, you could pretty much do anything. But a 130, 140, something with a blade on the front, you get something like that on your property for a week or 5 days. It's affordable. Trust me, for what it can do.
Yes.
It will transform your property and transform you as a homesteader. So you're going to have to work hard and spend a little money. And with that excavator, believe it or not, you can dig a hole in the low part of your property, not everywhere, but in more places than people know, and hit water, because I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it in places where people told me it's not going to happen. And we did it. I just recently did it and shocked the heck out of myself. But so you never know till you try. That excavator can build roads, it can flatten ground, it can clear land. It can grade is a huge thing on these homes. We go to a lot of homes, water's draining towards the house. There should never be one drop of water that melts and drains, if you will, towards your house. All the way, four corners of your house, it better be coming off your roof, hitting the ground, and wicking away. And that's if you're not catching it.
Yes.
So yeah, the excavator for a week or 3 days, whatever, 3 to 5 days, an excavator. You know how to do it, get somebody there to run it. But before that thing goes back, learn how to run it yourself, because it's not that hard.
Good skills to have too. Those are handy.
Yeah, amen. Skid
Yeah.
steer, good, but an excavator is the most versatile tool. Back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, the backhoe was the 580 or the John, whatever, a cat. All they were the every excavator couldn't live without one, and now it's a mini X, or a 200 or 50, 150, 220. You can again, it's a life changer. So with those excavators, you can build a pond if you have clay. A lot of people right now don't have any water. They're hauling water. They're driving from their property to get water by farms or ranches that have these little ponds. Why? Because those people had clay and just pushed out a little bowl, a little swimming pool, and let Mother Nature fill it up. And they could do the same. They could do the same.
Amen. Yes. Good, solid advice. The old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned.
So old-fashioned way. Yeah.
And if you're driving a $70,000 Ford truck, and your wife's driving a $40,000 or $50,000 fancy car, you don't have water, don't come whining to me, because I've never owned a new vehicle, but I definitely would focus my money on drilling a well. $50 a foot was Wyoming. No, $50 a foot was like 5 years ago in Lovelock. And I'm not, it was I can't remember. There was a town down the road. Well driller was cool. Second, third generation. I think it was $50 a foot in Idaho, outside of Boise. Good people there. It was a tough well on top of a mountain. Crazy.
Yeah.
You're gonna find water pretty much anywhere on planet Earth. That's why, frankly, I don't believe in water witching. I don't recommend it. But let me go back to, I don't believe in it. So read into that what you want. But I also find it laughable, because just about anywhere on planet Earth you drill, there's water. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate many people swear by it and live by it. But factually, if I look it up in Webster's right this second, I believe it says pseudo science, fake. So I'm not saying it doesn't work for some people, but I'm only touching on it here because by now certain people are probably listening, going, "Well, you water witch, you idiot." Well, this idiot doesn't.
Yeah.
Uh, but the lowest spot on a property is a well driller. Would probably tell you that's that's something to think about. And I just did that out of complete desperation in Virginia, and you have to watch to see what happened because I still can't believe what happened.
Yeah.
But
Cliffhanger there. Yeah.
so water's a big thing. Sanitation's a big thing. The more water you have, the more food you can grow, the more animals you can bring in, the cleaner you'll be, the happier you'll be. Real simple.
Yeah. Good advice. So we're running up on an hour and I want to be respectful of your time because I know you got lots going on. This has been an excellent conversation. I think my last question for you is, we're seeing, like you said, we're seeing this exodus of people from the cities right now. I know in all my years of sharing homesteading online, I've never seen the explosion like we've seen the last 2 years. It's blown my mind. And I know a lot of people listening are feeling the bug if they haven't already, but they're looking at buying land. A lot of people are feeling frustrated because, like you were talking about earlier, the prices and the crazy markets. What would be your best piece of advice besides water for those people who are itching to get out of the city, to change up their life, to have more self-sufficiency, but they're feeling a little paralyzed?
Well, don't give up. Every single day, I won't say inundated, but I'm contacted happily by people with that same question, from people with money to people without money. And, I try to respond to most everyone, but uh, believe it or not, via this podcast, I'm kind of a man of few words. It's certainly on social media. It's kind of like I'll just tell them to do it.
Yeah.
Go. You don't know till you try.
Yes.
And I can pontificate here a little bit, perhaps, with a small p. But at the end of it, the pontification, that's all it would really be. That would be the summation. You know, procrastinate. I mean, you have no idea. Let's take Alaska. Yeah, let's just say, a million people have said I was going to move to Alaska, but this, and then they'll give me the excuse. But this or that or this or that. I run across these people in the States, right? Or they're here on vacation. "Oh, I always want to come here and move here, but it's too late. Now it's this. Now it's that." Um, well, all those are excuses, and apparently you didn't have the dream. Uh, the dream wasn't rooted in you, in your heart, in your mind, uh, because you would have done it. I know because I moved to Alaska 50 years ago because I wanted to. I dreamed about it. I came for the adventure. It was a wild place. So, assuming that could apply to people in a city trying to go, maybe not to Alaska, but to the country, you know, is it too wild? Is it too daunting? Is it too expensive? Is it too scary? Is it, you know, not many people were so rooted in our ways. I often say to people, you know, I really question the American dream. This, two cars and 1.8 kids, and the houses, they're so close together, and they're all commuting. All these cities, they're all commuting in hour and 2 hour drives one way, back and forth. Oh, they'll that'll all end in 20 years when they retire, or 30. And I look at that and I think, I question that, frankly. They're in a rut. And if a
Yes.
rut gets deep enough, it could resemble a grave. So I encourage people to sit down with their husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, whatever, and really look at their life and say, is this where, are we happy here? And if money is the motivator, that would make me sad, because there's a lot of things in life that are like peace of mind and serenity, freedom, independence, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, that eclipse a bank account and a showy display of one's means of life, which we've all done it probably in some way, but it's laughable. So when all these homesteaders that we help and meet, and some that I know that uh, aren't on TV, they're in this. They were all these people that you're asking about, Jill. The millions have made the decision, thought about it, contemplated the change, and did it. But I haven't met one yet that was sorry they left the city behind, and the concrete and the asphalt and the troubles.
Yes.
So I never met one person that has lamented this decision yet, even though some of them are really challenged and they get in over their heads. And a lot of that really does. Are those branding irons behind you?
They are, yes.
Sweet.
Those are the ones we actually use too. Yep.
Oh, I love it. So we actually, I'll, I don't mind telling you, I made one that says HR, and so I've been branding every homestead.
Nice. Nice. I like that.
Yeah, I've been branding every homestead, but I'm such a loser because we just came from Kentucky, and we worked on a 1800s, if you will, barn, huge.
Mm.
And I was so busy working, I drove away, and I thought I did
No.
of all things that needed a brand on it.
That
So
would have been sweet. Yeah.
I'm kind of a loser. So yes, I encourage it's kind of like climbing Mount McKinley or Denali. I used to be that guy. I started guiding it in 1986. And I was that guy, let's climb McKinley, Jill. You can do it. Yeah, grab a pack, start training. I'll take you. You're a hero. Oh, look. Anyone can do it. Until I say this, it's bombastic. It's a terrible thing to say, but until I killed somebody.
Mm.
Terrible thing to say, but it gets the point across that the mountain is really dangerous.
Yeah.
And not everybody can do it. Even the toughest person that I knew that didn't come back. Yeah. And he was the toughest person that I know. A crab fisherman with 4 boats, a legend. More 10 times. Every one of those guys on Deadliest Catch combined wasn't as tough as Brian Young. But the toughest guy I know didn't come back from Denali. So it isn't for everybody, this lifestyle, but most people can do it. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Is arduous? Yes. But they can do it. It's like that. You dream. You don't just wake up one day and say, "Oh, let's climb McKinley tomorrow." You see it and go, "What the?" Or you're already a climber and you're climbing bigger and bigger mountains, and then that's the tallest one in North America. And so you set your sights on it, and it takes years for you to study and get your head wrapped around it and learn about it and train once you make the commitment. Not spontaneous.
Yeah.
And Brian did everything. I mean, he actually flew to Colorado and hired a guide before we climbed the mountain, and climbed some 14,000 piece to acclimate just before the climb.
Wow.
He did everything right. Everything. I mean, amazing. And he was incredibly tough. unbelievably tough. So yes, these homesteaders, you know, I want to say anyone can do it. Come on, yeah. But it's not for everyone, but everyone probably could do it. Age factor doesn't matter at all to me.
Yeah.
Uh, age is a number. I often say, I often say it's not the, you know, uh, it's not the age, it's the mileage. In my case, yeah. But yeah, I think that I would encourage anyone thinking about it to really get serious and look at their life. Are they happy, or are they in a rut?
Yes.
And then, just like Denali, it's big, it's daunting. It takes some instruction. It takes uh, due diligence, and but you'll make it to the you know you'll probably make it.
Yeah.
It'll be the adventure of a lifetime. You'll never be sorry, and you'll never know the opportunities. I mean, it's a new lease on life for most of these people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like right where I'm sitting right now, I don't deserve this. I'm sitting in a log cabin on a cliff, off grid, um, in the mountains. I took a walk. Uh, I took a walk yesterday. We got about 16 inches of snow behind the cabin yesterday, day before. I just want to see. I'm not a kill everything in sight guy. We try to get a moose every year, which I did on
Mhm.
open day, luckily, or a caribou. But just to see who's around in our neighborhood, if you will. I saw wolf tracks. I saw wolverine tracks, two coyotes, two lynx, at least one fox, porcupine,
Yeah.
two spruce hens. Uh, just you just heard a magpie messing with the dog. So it's priceless. It's priceless to be able to live this serene and calm and natural, if you will.
Yeah.
When for me, it's I just want to live like an Alaskan should live. That's it. Which it should be self-explanatory. Closer to nature, a little less commercial. Even though I'm still a contractor, I still go out there and work happily, uh, and or travel and help other people. So yeah, it's a lifestyle that I would recommend. There's no other lifestyle that I would live. I'm blessed that all members of our family, born and raised in Alaska, embrace the Alaskan lifestyle, and are incredibly adventurous. So yeah, um, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that came to Alaska late in life. I'm meeting them right now under this guise of urban exodus.
Yes.
I'm meeting these 50, 60, maybe even 70-year-old people that are retiring in Alaska, where in the last 5 years, many in Alaska, including some well known politicians, uh, have gone to Arizona and live
Ah,
there, go to
yeah.
Arizona for long periods of time, which is great because Arizona, by the way, is amazing. I get it.
Sure.
So, but there's people coming here. The point, you know, regardless of the age, young or old, don't ever let a sense of adventure slip away, because I see it every day. And I probably do literally see it every day. I'm too old, or we can't get away, or this is tying us down, or whatever. It's hard for me to believe that people who, if they really wanted to live your lifestyle or mine, or these people that we help, that they couldn't be right there in just a matter of months.
Yes.
But you,
Yes.
you know, the hardest step on every adventure is that first step out the front door.
Absolutely. And there's so many stories we tell ourselves that try to convince us to stay in the house.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good life. It's a good life. I will tell the, and I appreciate the timeline. And I would say, um, one thing we just has to be mentioned here is a work ethic.
Yes.
It takes work, and the harder you work, the more successful you'll be in anything. But the work on a homestead is manual, and a lot of people, it seems, are less and less uh, amenable to manual labor, even on the homesteads that we visit. Full disclosure,
Interesting.
I think they all could work a little bit harder. And so we certainly are, and we often kind of re-inspire them. They're like, "Man, we first got out here working our rears off, and maybe we were, these challenges where we thought were insurmountable, we have surmounted, and maybe we're back on track to hit it hard again." But it's hard work. But man, that's a significant portion of the reason we're out here.
Yes.
We like hard work. You
Yes.
know, so
And I think
I
humans need that. I think that's something we're missing. I think our culture is trying to weed that out because we think that makes a better life, but I think we're missing that. And I think that's where so much of that craving comes from is we need the hard, we need the challenge, we need the work. When we don't have it, we get off kilter.
yeah, I mean, well stated. So I think you'll live longer. Everyone listening to this, if they're in the city, it's probably a fact that they will live longer if they move to the country and
Mhm.
live the rest of their life in the country. I mean, that statement alone uh, is one for meditation, one for contemplation, one for consideration. I mean, what would you do if you could add one day to your life? But you could actually live years longer, and I believe it, because stress is a killer.
Yes.
And I'll tell you right now, on this homestead, these challenges don't really create stress. Not stress like a commute, not
Yes.
stress like an office, not stress like a a a significant amount of bills that you get when you live uh, the American dream. Couple of car payments, a light bill, electric, a fuel bill, a gas bill, a water bill, the rent for if you're buying a house right now, it's 7% and going up. So they tell us. So it's all the signs are there, you know. The question is it a better life? And as you and I both seen, um, millions of people have asked themselves that question, meditated on it, been honest with themselves, and said, if we stay in these cities and try to change it, it's just going to be stressful,
Mhm.
whether it's our school district, our politic, whatever it is, it's just going to be stressful and all consuming. Or we can just get out of here and try to live the rest of our lives a bit more on our own terms.
Yes.
And I mean, it's got a really good ring to it.
Yes, it
Now
does.
the bad side is Alaskans whine about it. The good people I met in Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Montana, beautiful states. They had their little panacea, but now they're being, I wouldn't say inundated, but certainly X amount of people from California, it
Yeah.
seems, and Seattle are moving out to those locales, and I'm I got to tell you, I I'm happy for them, those
Yeah.
people. I really am. I can I get both sides of it. Trust me, loud and clear. I'm dealing with it right here, right now.
Yeah.
As I look out here to my east, somebody's putting in an airstrip and a very expensive subdivision.
Mm.
And I don't know what 40 acres. So I don't know how many lots, but it's going to be air traffic. It's going to be, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to protest it. I'm not going to any meetings. I'm not going to whine about it.
Yeah.
Alaskans have said to me, "Oh, all these Alaskan shows are bringing people to Alaska. You guys suck." Okay. Alaska, I stand to be corrected by anyone and humbly will be. But I heard or read a statistic a couple months ago that there was not a growth in Alaskans' census since 2016, in its population since 2016. I couldn't believe it
Oh,
because
wow.
I know, Jill, everyone told me, "Oh, all you shows, you guys suck." Yeah. And I thought, well, I mean, there's 600,000 square miles and you live in Anchorage. So, I'll
Yeah.
just eat it, I guess, and be,
Yeah.
and you can condescend or criticize me. I'll just take it. But they didn't even know what they were talking about. So I also heard that Florida was seeing an increase of 3,000 people a day.
I believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I heard that one a while back. It may not be happening now. I think I might have heard it on NPR. The point. So if there's any truth to these statistics, yes, some people are being inundated with this urban exodus, this um, this urban escape. But and back to Alaska, the population did increase for the first time since 2016. Like last year, and it had to do with a military increase on the basis
Mm.
by Fairbanks, I think. So, is it a downside? I don't know. I'm sure some people don't like it, but I have to say, if you know, I would have, it would be really hard for me to have my little piece of paradise here and then say no one else can have it. I just can't be that person.
Yeah. I'm with you. We live in near a town of 175 people. It's an old West town, and the population is decreasing there too. And some of the folks that live there are anti anyone new moving in. And I'm like you. I'm kind of like, no, we need fresh people here. We need to see good growth. We need to see some growth. And I really don't feel like chasing away anybody that comes to the area, because sometimes that can be a good thing. I mean, it can be bad too, but I'm with you. I think there's some nuance there that needs to be appreciated.
Yeah, and every single, because everybody, wherever we go, people walk up, they want to talk about the show. I meet so many people, and I will tell you, now that I'm sitting here thinking about these encounters, and what the people don't know is I'm interested in this topic. So I asked them, "Well, where are you from?" Da, da, da. Yes, there's a striking number of them going from, believe it or not, I think from California to Texas as well. That
Yeah.
one I will need to dial in a little bit more, but certainly to the mountain states, big time. And that's been going on for years, but exacerbated again by COVID and all of the troubles that these cities are having since COVID. But these are good people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm happy for them. They're in their 50s and 40s, 50s and 60s, and they're like, we just had to get out. But
Yes.
and when you meet somebody from California, they're always apologizing. We're from California, and they're. I mean, I've heard it 1,000 times. It seems, and then so I try to interrupt them and say, "I got to tell you that when uh, this whole country got started from Jamestown Bay, moved west, Daniel Boone, the Cumberland Gap, the trail out west, the Homestead Act, 1862. Everyone ultimately was heading for California.
Yeah. Yep.
It has everything.
Has
It's
everything.
heaven. So never apologize. And then they immediately go, "Well, our politics." I said, "I don't care about that. I've been there. California is stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning." So I like. It's hard for me to be not in my backyard, as the NIMBY, uh, uh, dialogue goes. I'm not that guy. I can't do it. I can't be, that selfish, frankly.
Yeah. Good
I'm
perspective.
happy for people that. Well, I mean, I'm not wired that way. If these people want to go, if they're going to make those kind of sacrifices to be happier and get their family in a better place, oh man, I'd help. I would help every single one of those families personally if I could, but I can't. Anyway,
Wow.
so yeah, I did a lot of talking here.
It was
What
good.
you
It was
don't
good
know is
talking.
I'm up here. I'm, yeah, I'm up here on the mountain. It's clear blue sky. I'm going to get out here and work on the barn,
Yeah.
uh, and believe it or not, I'm getting my 8-foot tall fence from, I think it's Jay Topes. I think I'm getting my fence from Jay Topes from where's that rock in Wyoming?
Devil's Tower. Okay. Wyoming.
Yeah,
Wyoming fence. Okay.
Devils.
Nice.
Yeah, and he gave me his business card. And again, I know him from Alaska, from Delta. We bought
Yeah.
some fence from him there for our homestead episode, which was kind of interesting up there. But Jay Topes is got thousands of acres in Alaska, up there in that Delta agricultural area. And yeah, I put in my fence posts, and he wanted to buy fence posts from me. So yeah, I got a connection with a Wyoming guy. I'm reaching
Excellent.
out to him for advice and information, because he knows more about 8-foot tall fence and buffalo and raising
Buffalo. Yes.
than I do. So
Yes.
he's my
Yes.
I need that old timer.
Yep. I like it. I like it. Well, I want you to have plenty of time to work on your fence, but before you go, can you or do you have a date when your next season is airing? This season 10, right?
It is season 10, and it's kind of crazy, Jill, because this is a crazy business. Nobody really knows anything till about
I
a
have
week.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
Okay, so you get it.
I get it. I've had a small dealing with that industry and I get it. Yes.
But in everyone's defense, and i.e. the program department, I've heard rumors of December, January,
Okay.
probably not December, December, January, February. But I really can't uh, honestly answer that question. I don't.
Okay.
No one knows.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, I know folks can go probably find back episodes somewhere, right?
Yeah,
If they want to
I'm
catch
not.
up.
Well, you and I both know I couldn't even figure out how to get on Chrome on the computer. So I'm not the best guy for that, but
It's okay.
just
But they'll find it. They'll find it. It's all right.
we're certainly on Discovery. We have 2 shows.
Okay.
Homestead Rescue season 10 is being filmed now. My next 2 homesteads I leave here in a few days are both in Texas. I don't even know where. Somewhere in Texas. I just came from Virginia and Kentucky. We've been to Alaska, Idaho, Washington State. 1, 2, 3. Kentucky, Virginia, 4 or 5. Where else have we been? Idaho, Washington, Alaska, Kentucky, Virginia. I think I'm missing one, and then 2 in Texas. And after that, we don't even know. We haven't even lined the people up. This show is a beast. It's a massive, huge beast of trying to find legit people that really need help. They got to pass the background check. There's so many moving parts. It's crazy. So I tip my hat to everyone involved before I get there, because there's a lot of work that's been done to make sure that something doesn't go wrong once we get there. But Raney Ranch is the other show we have that's filmed right here on this 40 acres.
Okay.
So will we resume another season of that when this season 10 is wrapped up? Remains to be seen. Back to the when will the show air question.
Sure.
Everything's always hanging on
No
Discovery.
worries.
On Discovery Plus. I've seen it on Prime. I've seen it on Netflix. I don't know much about that entire world. But if somebody types in my name, Marty Raney, Raney, or Homestead Rescue, they'll be inundated with stuff.
Yes. Yes. I can attest to that because I did type in your name and I found all kinds of stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well,
So yeah.
I hope it's good. Yeah, we I'll be honest, really try to uh watch everything, because I never saw this coming. I never saw it coming where 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, and 104-year-olds, and everyone in between would walk up and say, it's a show they could watch. They
Mhm.
really it. They learn from it. There's no drama and cussing and uh, fighting amongst me and my kids or the homesteaders. But in real life, I wouldn't fight with or yell at my kids or cuss at them, or I would never come to someone's property and be uh, intimidating or disrespectful or yell at them or say you did something wrong. I mean, I just couldn't do that. So yeah, the I've been, I don't know, very humbled by the audience of this show, both shows, and and because of that, really, really uh, happy to keep making seasons, because in real life we're helping these total strangers,
Yeah.
and the audience, is very appreciative of the type of show it is. And I never saw any of that coming. I had no agenda. I was just going to be me. My daughter Misty was going to be Misty, which she's completely crazy. Uh, and Matt's going to be Matt, who's just the nicest person in the world. So
Yeah.
we all worked hard together to help these other families. So I just found out something my assistant told me yesterday. She goes, Marty, guess who's got a marathon on their network for the day of Thanksgiving? And I made a comment of another show as a joke.
Mhm.
And she goes, no, not that one, yours. I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
so yeah. And that has happened for more than once through the holiday seasons, Christmas Day, New Year's, Thanksgiving. And I
Nice.
don't know if anybody on the network ever listens to this podcast associated with TV. I mean, I that makes me feel really good. I mean, if anything ever, if there was one thing I personally could take away from this show that makes me feel good, is it's that we have a really nice audience, um, and the network does see this show as a little bit different, and they're
Yeah.
very supportive. I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want. That's I'm that's all I'm going to do anyway. But the network lets me.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think many shows have that loose of reins.
I don't
So
think so. Yeah. That says a
Dis-
lot.
Discovery's been very good to me, and I thank them. I mean, they could fire me tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised, frankly, because I've done plenty they probably could have disliked. Trust me,
Yeah.
not with homesteaders, but behind the scenes.
Mhm.
But and I would not ever say one bad word about them.
Yeah.
Discuss the company, because they've treated me. They've put up with a lot of stuff behind the scenes of me being old school and old fashioned.
Yeah.
A lot. L.A. and Marty Raney
Yeah.
are cut from the same whatever, but
Not quite.
in the same breath, I would never say one bad word about Discovery, and that's if they fired me today.
Yeah.
We
Well,
helped
and yeah.
we helped a lot of people.
I love that they're committed to putting this kind of content out there because I think we need more of it. So it's good to hear that. Yeah, it's been good all the way around.
Well, thank you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, young lady,
Well,
I can
yes,
see
you need to go build a barn.
you look like you should be on TV. You look like a very pretty country girl.
Well, I've had a lot of TV companies come knocking, but nothing's worked out quite yet. So I'm just doing my thing and, you know,
I'm an
plugging
executive.
along.
If you got an idea, I'm an executive producer. Get a hold of me.
Oh, okay. I'll holler at you because we do have
Yeah,
ideas on occasion. Yeah.
yeah. I'm pitching. I've got a besides Homestead Rescue and Rainy Ranch. I have I have another homestead show idea that I'm going to pitch too.
Oh, sweet.
So
Yeah.
this is a brutal business. I mean,
Yeah. I've gathered that. Yeah.
I just got done singing Discovery's praises, but the industry is brutal.
Yes. Yes.
Trying to go is kind of difficult.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
on that happy note, have a great day, young lady, and I
You too.
thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was wonderful. I learned a lot and I appreciate your time. I know the audience will enjoy it.
Well, that's nice of you. Again, thank you.